Hello everyone and welcome for another video of Love and Wargames. In this video, we are taking a look at the much anticipated Sorcerer Kings one-player starter set, the newest faction for Conquest. So we're really excited to have a look at this. We're going to do this where we're gonna have the real unboxing. We're gonna open the box, see the sprues, see the resin, and see the quality of it. And then the bigger second part, we're going to have a look at each variation that you can build, which variation you can build, like should you build the Efreets with the swords, with the fire, etc., how to play them, and how to expand. It's going to be very similar to what we did recently to the how to start with the city-states, and now it's going to be how to start with the Sorcerer Kings. Of course, since we received this box, do expect to see these guys very soon in the battle report, probably first in First Blood, where we get everything painted, because we do have a few painters, but the backlog is turning at full strength, so it will take a while. So we'll see them first in First Blood, and then we're gonna start to make Last Argument of Kings battle report with those guys. As always, give us a thumbs up if you like this type of comment. It really helps to spread the channel around, and give us a comment as well, because then not only you also help us to grow, you show me how much you have interest in Conquest, but you also gain a ticket, and you may gain an entire Dystopian Wars battle fleet, either American, either Crazy Scientists, all of this, just by putting a little comment. Everything is painted. You just have to play and have fun. If it's gonna be your first Dystopian Wars fleet, let me know. I will also include, if you come from Conquest, I will include all the cards, everything, so you can play from the beginning, like the rule set and everything. All right. Without further ado, let's have a look at these Sorcerer Kings. Okay, let's take care of the papers first. So you have a quick start guide for the last arguments of King, which is good, like the basic rules. You can have fun from the beginning. So the Wiggums, best faction. What? And yeah, it's very simple, but remember that this is just to keep next on the table for your first game. Last Argument of King is the Regiment Battle Games. You have all the rules for free on the website, and also Wiggum Terrain. You have this also for First Blood, which is more like the skirmish version. We already have, by this time you watch this video, 1 or 2 First Blood battle report on the channel, maybe 3 even. We are recording a few more of those. And yeah, hopefully we are going to make half First Blood, half First Argument of King. Let us know if this is what you want indeed. Like, I feel like it makes a good switch between the two. If you want only Last Argument of Kings, let us know in the comments. If you want only First Blood, maybe there is a demand, let us know as well. And if you want 50-50, also I am willing to hear this so I can make the content that you like. Okay, you have a little list, as we know, for the Sorcerer Kings. This is what you get in this box. You have some expansion that you can have. For example, you buy this box with this. I think this is almost exactly... No, okay, it's not the entirety, but it's almost what you get in the 2-player starter set. The Sorcerer, more infantry, and some Steelheart Genes. So if you want the omnipotence, which is quite a proud word, maybe you need just the 2-player starter set with the city-states. Archon Dervish, okay, this is going to look great. These are just suggestions of how to build your army. And damn, this, yeah, I need to stop starting new armies for Conquest, but oh la la, like, how could you not want to have some very solid infantry with some crazy elementals and this giant demon? I don't know. I don't know how you cannot want to do that. The Conquest, as always, has the best art direction of any fantasy game, in my opinion. It's like 50% of the reason why I started Conquest. 50% is the game itself, and 50% is the miniatures and the art direction. And also, okay, a little bit, also we have a nice community growing now in Paris. I want to thank Yes from Yes Miniature while I show you the building instructions, because he made me start Conquest and spent a lot of money in this. And yeah, but since those early days, we really have a big growing community of Conquest here in Paris. And yeah, now we have a lot of people that play Conquest play Dystopian Wars, so that is good. And a lot of people that play Dystopian Wars now play Conquest, because we are just like one big community here. So that is nice. And of course, like I saw it from the corner of my eyes, but I wanted to keep it for later. We do have a map, and this is what I thought. It's a map of the Sorcerer King continent. So, you know what? Let's move. Yeah, it's going to be nicer like this, because this is a brand new continent. We've read from the table, not a table, from the lore, the main cities. Okay, I'm not sure which one is which. I just know there is a flying nomad air city, which I think is a crazy cool concept. And yeah, it's not a super good quality map, unlike what we've seen, like we can buy on the site, but it's exactly the same as what you can buy when you buy another starter set, which makes me think that maybe there's going to be more faction than the Sorcerer Kings coming here. I think they've teased that there would be the, how they call it, the clans, the roving clans, like the Horde, the Mongol Horde equivalent. And I think they're going to be somewhere there as well, probably around the desert or around the green areas where the horses can run, probably. Anyway, I love maps, and more maps is better. You also have the usual measuring tool right there, always useful. You've got all the bases that you need to put your miniatures, all right. This little thing to put on your computer or something if you want. And of course the cards, we're gonna have a look at them first. So those are rituals. We'll talk maybe a little bit about them in the Tactica, but basically you need to focus for a while, one turn over the other, to make some very powerful effects. Okay, Efreet Flamecasters looking amazing. How you don't want to start an army when you see artworks like this. Okay. The Raj, also extremely cool. The Ghols, the ghoulish fire demon zombies, looking amazing. You see they're all in red, but imagine them, you can put the color scheme with another color. You can make blue flames, green flames, purple flames. It's gonna look great every single time. And the Rajakurs, which are the default basic infantry, but look at this armor and this shield, looks so good. So let's have a look at the first sprues now. I will move this so you don't get distracted. A white background is always better. I will zoom a little bit, and this looks like the Efreets. I have to admit, I don't understand much of what is going on there. Okay, this is a head. Maybe the light is not so good. What do you say? Yeah, sorry for the mess in front of you, but like this, the sun is going to put some better light. So okay, still a mess, still hard to understand, but I think this is bodies of the Efreets, and yeah, we recognize the weapons of the Sword Dancers, and there must be some hands, yeah, with flames to make the Flamecasters. The real flaming swords are for the sergeant, if I'm not mistaken, like the leader of the unit. Maybe not, because you have a lot of those. Yeah, if you can have a full sword, like flaming sword unit, that would be even better. You do have a lot of plastic sprues, and this is not even everything yet. The Rajakurs, you recognize them easily from the shields in the mill. It's not the first time I see the shields being exactly here. I've seen this recently on the Agemas. I really, oh my god, the shields look so good. Every time I see armored infantry like this, I'm like, yeah, I'm starting a new army. But damn, okay, I have to say, guys, if you don't like Men-at-Arms, the kit, which is a little bit old, they're supposed to be just mercenaries. You know what? You can have mercenaries from the Far East and just say they bought this armor from wherever and just use those guys as Men-at-Arms. Because damn, that is a cool kit. Much better than the now aging Men-at-Arms kit. And yeah, they're armored, they have a shield, they have... and look at this banner. Yeah, even if you don't want to start a Sorcerer Kings army, look at these helmets, how good they look. Yeah, if you don't want to start a Sorcerer Kings army, maybe just buy a box or two of those guys. They can be great agemas if you find a fluff reason to have them, or they can be great looking as well, men-at-arms, like those mercenaries, because yeah, they're gonna fit perfectly. Second kit with a banner and stuff, and another. Each time you can make 4 or 5 miniatures, and another, and another. Damn, those are all. Okay, you're supposed to be able to make 24 miniatures, and so it means you have 3 grapes per box, like that you buy otherwise. Like this is supposed to be 12 Rajakurs. You do have on each enough to make basic infantry, or one of them can be the sergeant. I suppose this is the Sergeant one, and you can make banners. You can have a lot of banners. I don't know if you want to make some conversion or stuff. I have to say, if you are sure you're gonna have banners every single time, maybe give banners to a lot of guys. Like, sure, like have every squad of 4 guys have a banner. It's gonna be less useful for First Blood, because then you're gonna have a little bit too much. But on Lost Arguments of King, it's gonna look so good. Just make sure you point out which is your command stance. But having this big block of infantry of 24 guys, and they're gonna have like 6 banners in the middle, it's really give this Eastern vibes of like all these ribbons and banners floating in the wind. If you put some nice color, okay, it's gonna be more work from painting, but damn, isn't that going to look glorious? Okay, we got some more plastic stuff for the Efreets, more flaming hands if you want to play them as Flamecasters, those swords if you want to play them as Sword Dancers. And this, I have no idea what it looks, but damn it, what is it? What are those things? Is it like little reactors? Is it to evacuate the wind, like little turbines? I don't know, maybe the Efreets are actually steam powered. I mean, they do come from the Old Dominion from the beginning, and we know the city-states love this. Look at this head, how good it looks like. Every time I receive some Conquest plastic, I am shocked by the quality of the plastic. Like how thick it looks. Some of them are going up and down. I mean, I like Dystopian Wars plastic, but they're ships. Like, I don't have anything else to compare because I don't know other steampunk warships game. But when I see those things, I compare, for example, to Games Workshop, and I'm like, yeah, this is same quality as Games Workshop. Look at these, look at everything. The level of details, of depth, insane. And finally, you get Ghols. So you have 6 sprues, which is supposed to be able to make 24 Ghols. So they're exactly the same sprues each time. So let's have a look. You're supposed to have 4 bodies. Am I right? Yeah, 4 bodies. 1, 2, 3, 4. All the different heads. Quite a few heads, actually. Yeah, you're going to be able to have some variety, which is good on these large blocks. I mean, you even have quite a few bodies, but some of them are missing legs. Okay, that's why. But yeah, heads, you're gonna have some variety. And anyway, those are flame zombie ghouls. Elementals, so it doesn't matter if they look a little bit like each other, but even then, like, they did quite a good work, Parabellum, for making sure they each have their own personality. So you have 6 sprues of this. And finally, of course, you have a character. Let's have a look. You get a Raj in resin, as always. Like, I'm getting tired of saying this, but look at the face. Like, can I zoom on this? Look at this. Like, okay, I need to focus. Yeah, there it is. The level of detail of the resin is great. Like, you have nice scale mail texture here, nice tissue there. Well, there's a little bit to clean there. The turban, of course, like, this is going to look amazing once painting. Like, I like the little alchemical vial he has on the side. Yeah, this is really cool looking. So he has flame in one hand. I think it's in this one. So I will clean just a little bit because there is a little bit of flesh. And then the sword also with a bit of flesh, but you can remove it by hand. We'll talk about this guy more in the Tactica, which I think it's about time that we start. We've seen the unboxing. Let's zoom out. So we've seen the literal ton of plastic and a little bit of resin that you get from this starter set, but we know that the starter sets from Parabellum are great value. Now that we've seen all of this, the unboxing, the cards and everything, we're going to have a look for the Tactica. If you leave us now, do give us a thumbs up and a little comment. And if you stay for the long run, let's have a look. Let's make a deep dive of each unit. And after this, how to play and how to expand with your Sorcerer Kings. Let's go. So for the Tactica deep dive, we're going to analyze each variant, of course the character, the little combo, and as we said, how to expand. The first thing that we will see, and I will move my face here for now, is who are the Sorcerer Kings? Like, you've seen the miniatures, but in the lore, how is it? Let's make a little quick summary. They are survivors from the Old Dominion. We know this faction for a while. They are the undead Roman Empire. There are three main descendants to the Old Dominion: the 100 Kingdoms, which are the regular refugees, the city-states, the Greeks that kind of like established their colonies before the war against the god of undeath now. And the third are the Sorcerer Kings, and they are the one that actually killed their mad god. and they escaped in the end, and they, with their newly acquired magical superpower, they created their own archipelago, started to colonize there, and yeah, basically just started to thrive because they do have an absolutely insane level of magic mastery. They started to explore parallel planes of power, like the plane of fire, of air, etc. If you've played the game Rift, it's basically this. And they are heavily based for their style, like architecture and appearance, as you can already see, on, like, let's say Middle East, like Mesopotamia and India. So they are this very much Eastern 1001 Nights appearance in all of them, and that is how you can sum it up. Is it realistic, like in how they treat the names of the monsters and the creatures, etc.? I am not sure, but they do try for the Western part, like the Greek culture, to be quite close to what it's supposed to be and how it's supposed to look, with sometimes a twist. I think this is what they do as well for the Sorcerer Kings. In terms of game, their armies are mostly like very well trained and equipped humans, like much better than, for example, the men-at-arms of the 100 Kingdoms. They really are good. They have great archers as well, which is something the city-states cannot say. And the heart of their army, of course, are all the elemental spirits and demigods. Like we will see, they have some monsters, some Efreets, some jinns, like all these magical creatures from earth, fire, and everything. Do note that for now, the only sub-faction that are available are, of course, some of the humans, like the basic humans, basic generic elemental spirits that we'll see, the Ghols and the Rajakurs, and only the forces of air and fire, because that's all, they cannot release everything all at once. We will see later on more regular army forces and some earth and some water, and we're very excited for this. On a gameplay point of view, do note that they are extremely based on combo and synergies, making them actually one of the hardest army to play. When they were first released, their army book, they were probably the most complex army to play. Now it became a little bit easier with this system of ritual, which I will sum up in a second. But now they're easier to play. They are still quite complex, the same as the Spires and the Wood Runes. Also the Nords are a little bit to play, but they are, I think, harder to play than the Nords and easier than Wood Rune and Spire, for example. They are in this frame, but it means that though they do have some options that are quite easy to build around and to play, and if you're a beginner, that's what you should do. But if you really want to get the most out of their faction, you really need to start to make combo and to play with the rituals, which will take some time to get used to. Rituals, to sum it up, it's some sort of super spell, let's say, super magic. You need to start to work for it across your entire table. You will start, when you activate characters, each time you activate a spellcaster character, to put a little token extra. And when you reach the threshold, like 5 tokens, 6 tokens, depends, you will finish preparing the ritual, and that's not the end. Then you gain the command card, which is exactly the same as if you would activate a unit, except when so next turn after it's prepared the ritual, you will put it in your little card deck, and when you pull out the ritual card, then you can make the ritual, which is usually a quite strong effect. Not game breaking either. I would think something like makes, like, I don't know, 20 hits or something. No, it's not this at all. It can be something quite strong, like the Conflagration, for example, that makes like a free instant spell from one of your spellcasters. Great. You have your army that have some synergies, for example, kind of like the city-states, in the sense, like, if you make a ritual, the unit that you pull after sometimes has synergies and says, like, if you had a ritual just before you pull this card, then you gain this extra bonus. So as you can see, it's a really tricky card activation game, the same as Wood Rune and the same as city-states sometimes with their strategic stack. So not great for beginners if you want to maximize, but they do have easy builds. So what do you get inside? Just a little reminder, you get a ton of stuff for 160 euros. You have the Raj, your character. You get a lot of tokens, a little measuring tool. You have 6 stands, so 24 Rajakurs, the regular infantry here. 6 stands, again, 24 of these Ghols, these fire demon elemental zombies. And then finally 3 Efreet Sword Dancers, which you can see here, but you can also build them as Flamecasters. So it's quite a good deal actually for a brand new faction, because if you buy this, all overall it would be 245 euros, almost 250 euros, quite a budget. But with this you have 30% discount and you reach 160. And as always, if you buy it from the official Parabellum eShop with our discount code, which is LOVE10, you will get minus 10% on top of it. We get a little part on top of this, so it really helps the channel growing, and it shows me that there is an interest for Conquest, so we do more and more thanks to those that already did this. This is why we are really pumping up the number of Conquest videos, and you will see a lot more in the coming weeks and months. And yeah, you will pay in the end 144 euros instead of 245. As you can see, it's like more than minus 100 euros discount. That is a really good deal. Is it good to start the faction this? We said already in our video when we compared all the faction starters, and yes, for sure, now we have the data sheets for real, so I can really confirm, yes, it's very good, but be careful. It's good especially if you want to focus on fire, because as we will see later, the game pushes you to focus either on fire, either on air, and since the Efreets are the elementals of fire, it pushes you to do this. There is nothing stopping you from making a mixed army, a little bit air and a little bit fire, but you will lose on some synergies. So is it good to buy this set twice? We will go more in detail, actually, a little spoiler about this later, but yes, because the only thing that you will not be able to use for sure if you want to focus on air, for example, are the Efreets, but you save more than the price of the Efreet by buying the whole starter set. So probably, yeah, you will want to have this. And even if you want to focus on air, 3 Efreets or even 6 Efreets will be good as the little flanking units. Probably like you will manage to find a synergy, and even if you focus on one elemental, you will have a place for them in your army. Alright, now we will start to have a look at the data sheets, and the first one, of course, we're going to cover is the Raj, the character. This little guy is interesting. This guy is 100 points, okay. He's a mixed, actually, he's a little bit spellcaster, quite a lot spellcaster, and also quite good in combat. So he does a bit of both. For 100 points, you would expect it. He has 4 wounds, defense 3, evasion 2. So fair, like not so bad. He has 5 attack at clash 3 without cleave or anything. So it could be way worse. He has flurry base. So then you start to think like, okay, this guy can punch, like 5 attacks, clash 4 when he's gonna charge or inspire, and with flurry starts to be a guy that can punch for sure. But he's also a wizard level 7. He is born of air or born of flame. He has spells of fire or spells of air. We'll focus on the spells of fire here, especially with the combos, because that's what I think you will do if you have only the starters, but remember that it can be both. And yeah, he's also Arcane Conduit, which means when he finishes the turn on an objective, you gain an extra token to prepare your rituals. So he does a bit of everything. He's very good wherever you put him in. He has access to 4 rituals, the best one being Conflagration, the one where you can make a free spellcasting action, but all of them are interesting in their own ways. As you can see, his warband is absolutely massive. He has mainstay of the Rajakurs, the infantry that you have, as well as the Ghols. You also have access, they have been announced, they will come I think during the summer, the Danur Disciples, the archers, which are going to be useful, and all the elementals. So the 2 variants of the Efreets, of the fire, and the 2 variants of the Jinns, from the air. So that is very good mainstay warband, and he has access in restricted the Mahabharati Sorcerer Sense. We know there are mage on cavalry, sounds cool. The 2 Rakshasas that we will talk about in the end, so you will know a bit, they're the monsters and they are quite great. And the Trinavarta, which has been, I think, has it been announced? No, it's another monster, I think. It's not the elephant, it's another monster that sounds more like, if I looked at the mythology, looks more like a monkey-style creature. We will see what it does and what it brings to the table, but we don't have the data, like we don't know much yet about how it will look. That being said, so we made a little thing. How should you use the Raj? There are a few ways to do this. Know that his warlord capacity is Arcane Devish. If you have only this character because you play with the starter set, that's what you're gonna get. All your creatures with the elemental special rules, that includes Ghols, quite big. Also all your Efreets and your Jinns, they will gain Terrifying +1 when they are on objective zones. So it incites you to play less regular humans, less Rajakurs, less Daniel disciples, and more elemental creatures if he is your warlord. It's fine because they are really good. The Rakshasa also has elemental, so you're gonna start to be quite efficient with this guy. I would put him in a pack of Rajakurs, like that you will not have a lot of choice if you have only the starters, but it's quite good. They are going to be tough and allow him to go in, maybe even in melee, where he can start to punch left and right, survive the counter punch, and still send his spells, which sometimes have a range of self. So overall, quite aggressive battle wizard that could be your warlord, especially if you focus on elemental creatures. And let's be a little bit honest, like most of the Sorcerer King players will want to do that because that's the big attraction to the army. Very good characters, and I think that even if you buy the starter twice, you will want to have this guy twice in your army because he has such a great mainstay access, and for 100 points, he does a lot of things. So yeah, absolutely would see him twice in some lists. Now we go to the Rajakurs, the regular infantry, 120 points, so middle plus in terms of price. We'll of course compare them to the men-at-arms and see that they are defense 2 with a shield, so they can be defense 3 from the face, resolve 3. So you will be like, a little bit like men-at-arms, but they have Ardent 1, which means that when they face enemies with cleave, they are technically defense 4. And they have ways, for example, with this relic, the best money can buy, which gives them Hardened +1. And okay, they're still only defense 3, and defense 3 I know that it can pop fast. I played the Dragon Slayer, so I know. But it's still defense 3 Hardened 2 is basically Dragon Slayer stats. Like, they have 2 less wounds, yes, but let me tell you, they don't have the same cost of the Dragon Slayers at all. So I like them very much. You can either put them 1 Raj in each if you have a few of those, and keep them on the front lines, on the objectives, so your guys that have Arcane Conduit can score ritual points. They have, we will not talk about him today, but they have a special character that is kind of like an officer. I think he's called like, okay, I forget the real name. I call him the Sardokar, like in Dune, because it's really close. It's an officer for the Rajakurs, and he has Arcane Conduit as well. A very great combo there. But even if you just put a Raj in there and you give them the best money can buy upgrade, they are going to be tough. A pack of like 5 of those or 6 is going to be great frontline objective melee unit, and it's going to be great. Even better if you have a Fire Raj, because then you can cast, for example, I showed you here, Wreathed in Fire, which will give them, first of all, Dread, which prevents the enemy to inspire. Already great because you're gonna start to be tough. Defense 3 is like, but you're gonna be Resolve 4 probably, or even better if you have a character in there. Yeah, you're gonna be Resolve 4, but still great. Harden 2, quite great, and the enemy cannot inspire. You start to be annoying to deal with. And you gain Aura of Death 2, because they only have 4 attacks at Clash 2, but with Aura of Death, it starts to pile up. Overall, I really like this unit. The Standard Bearer is free, which is great. I hope they will do this for every army, because you always want to bring your Standard Bearer. And yeah, just a great unit all around, and a very, very solid frontline unit for the Sorcerer Kings. It's great because the entire army is quite glass cannon. This is going to be your anvil. Then you get the Ghols. The Ghols are these fire Ghols, demon zombie things. Very interesting design. Cheaper at 110 points. They used to be 3 wounds, which means they would pop easily. They are now back at 4 wounds. Defense 2, evasion 1. Don't expect them to survive too long, but that's not what you use them for. They are light infantry regiment, okay, elemental as we've said, so they can benefit, for example, being Terraflying +1 with your Raj as your warlord, great. They are Children of Ash, which is a crazy cool name for a rule, meaning they can gain Born of Flame or Born of Air, probably Born of Flame if you go into the fire theme. Means they have some additional synergies with some spells. And the crazy thing is that they have Clash 1, which is terrible. Can go to Clash 2, yes. There are some rituals, some spells and stuff that could bring them to Clash 2, which already is great. And of course, +1 when you charge. But the crazy thing is that they have 7 attacks each.
That's an absolutely rain of attacks, and they are the best unit to put some boost on Clash, because they would benefit a lot from having better Clash. You can either use them to move block the enemy, but if you boost them, they are a threat, like a real threat. They are light, so they arrive turn 1, great. They have Vanguard, so they already start moving, and with movement 6, they can be fast. They also have Unstoppable, so inbuilt, they have like a rerolling charges. So these guys are damn fast. There's few combos. I just put you, for example, a spell. If you put a Raj, like a second Raj, for example, in there, you could give them the Molten Blades, which means that those 7 attacks per stand would gain Cleave 1. That's to be scary. And Deadly Blades, which means that you have chance to double the damage against your opponent. That's insane. Like I'm very happy of this. They are Clash 1, so they really benefit from Deadly Blades for sure. And they don't like, it's such a great combo. You can either have a pack of 3 stands, 110 points. You make them enter turn 1 as light, and you just throw them at the enemy to establish your reinforcements line. Works well. Or you make a pack of like 3 or 5 or 6. You give them some boosts, and then they're really threatening. Be careful though, they are quite fragile. They are fast and lethal. Lethal in the sense they have tons of attack, but they are fragile, so don't consider them too much. Don't expect them to survive too long. Then we arrive with the very interesting part. So you have 12 stands of infantry, and you're gonna have 3 stands of monster, but we're gonna talk about them quite a bit because you might expand your armies with those. So the first are the Efreet Sword Dancers. First of all, the models are insane, as you can see, like just below me. They are 170 points for brutes. They are medium, so they can capture objectives, good. 170 points starts to be expensive, but they have very, very powerful attacks, and again, they can synergize. They're a little bit like the Spires, the Sorcerer Kings, in the sense that the datasheets don't have the brute power of the Dwagons, for example. I tell you because it's those I play, and I know that the datasheet itself is strong, but they don't have great synergies sometimes. Those guys already are good, and they have crazy synergies they can put on top. They're fast-ish, movement 6, clash of 3 and 6 attacks. So 6 attacks at clash, technically 4, can be great. They do not have any cleave, which makes it sad. They have 5 wounds each, good for brutes, defense 3, evasion 1. So 5 wounds is good, but don't expect them to tank too much either. You can regenerate their health, like their wounds, with some fire spells, because they are born of flame, and they're elemental as well. So with the Rush as your warlord, they're going to be terrifying +1, still good. They have impact 3, always appreciable, and they have a special rule, which is Infernal Branding. It means that whenever your enemy is in contact with those guys, and the enemy is the target of a Court of Fire spell, which most of the time will be, then your friendly spellcaster will count as having 1 additional success to cast the spell. So it can be like a little bit more damage, or when it's the limit between failing the spell and succeeding, you will be very happy to remember that these guys have this rule. I will take the example of the ritual Insight Rage, which means that you target an enemy regiment within 12 inches of a friendly spellcaster, so your frontline Raj can do it, and then all the friendly regiments will benefit from shock, and it means +1 clash when you charge. Of course, we talked about the Ghols, they will love this, even more than the Efreets, but even the Efreets going to clash 4 bases and then rerolling their 6s because of the +1, it's gonna be great. It's also gonna help with the impact attacks. Like, there are so many synergies in this army that you really can make it work. Plus the miniatures are absolutely insane. You can make some great OSL effects on those, and yeah, go crazy with the colors and everything. The sculpt is amazing. Do note that there are only 50 points per additional stands. Is it a trick? Maybe there are some things like 50 points per additional stands for 5 wounds could help. I would definitely see those guys being efficient in packs of 5. Then we go to their alternative versions, the Efreet Flamecasters. Those guys are a bit cheaper, 160 points. Most like the same stat lines in defense and wounds and everything, less attacks obviously. What they do have, however, is they have barrage 5, each of them at 14 inches, at volley 2, so could be sometimes volley 3, and they still have their impact attacks, but the most interesting part is that they have torrential fire. Torrential fire is an insanely good capacity, though you will be very close because 14 inches is the same range as Fireforged for the Duegom. So it's quite close, but when you are in range, it means you're gonna throw 15 dices, and every 2 hits that you will make, and you can boost your capacities and everything, you will be able to gain an additional automatic hit. So they can really shoot hard while your enemy is glued with your infantry regiments or whatever. And the big, huge difference they have over the Duegom Fireforged is that they're brutes. And the old Dominion players can tell you that having brute units that can shoot is insane, because they can just stay behind your Ghols, your Rajakurs, and since they are taller, they will have line of sight to shoot just inside the melee in front of them, and it is going to be much easier for them than for Fireforged to be able to use their torrential fire rule. I give you another example of the spellcasting ritual capacity, which is Conflagration. So you need 5 tokens, can happen basically once every 2 turns, and then you have your little friendly spellcaster, whichever, can make immediate additional out of sequence spellcasting action. So it can be great to support indeed your Raj when you have some offensive spells. And do note that these guys, the Flamecasters, have their special rule Infernal Marker, which means that whenever they target someone with a volley action, doesn't even have to hit them at all even. All the friendly spellcasters that send spells of fires will have a 1 additional success. So again, we can see the synergies. First you shoot with those guys, and then your spellcasters that maybe will even use his free spell from Conflagration, or will just throw his regular spells, will get an additional success while targeting this enemy regiment. So you can start to see how all the little combos that you can have with the Sorcerer Kings, like debuffing someone, shooting with someone else, then gain shock when you charge with someone else. Like there is a lot of intricate parts, like cogs, that will allow you to combo well and punch above your pay grade. Kind of like with the Spires or the Wadroons would do, except with a, if you ask me, way cooler style. Okay, so you have your starters, you played with them, you love the gameplay, you love the miniatures. How do you expand beyond that? I'm gonna offer you 3 ways, and the first one is gonna sound a little bit obvious, but we spoiled it a little bit before, is to get another 1-player starter. You can wait to try to the army to check that you like the gameplay before buying it twice, but really it's such a great discount. You cannot go wrong with it. You're gonna have a lot of Rajakurs, which are always going to be the core of your army. Having 2 packs of 6/10 Rajakurs is going to be a solid front line that you will always want. And the Ghols are super cheap, as we have seen. If I just go back for a second, you see additional stands are 40 points. So you can make, if you want, a huge pack. They're cheaper if you play them as small units, but you could make a huge pack to give them a great resolve, and they just make a huge line that charges the enemy turn 1. So that is absolutely a possibility. Ghols are great units. And then you have more Efreet Dancers or Flamecasters, which are, as we've seen, great units as well. And the Raj, amazing character with great mainstay warband. I usually try to say like, yeah, it's good to have variety and stuff, but in this case, having 2 Raj in your list doesn't seem idiot at all to me. Like, it would work really well. And sorry, I still left the Hephaestion there. You don't have an Hephaestion. I just deleted it. So yeah, it's a great way to expand, and for 144 euros, it is a lot of plastic that you're getting in this. And it's just a great core for the army. Of course, as a reminder, this is still very much better if you want to focus on the fire court because of the Efreets, but it's not exclusive. The Efreets are the only one that are focused on fire. The Ghols can be from the Born of Air if you want, these little zombies. The Raj can be a spellcaster of air. It's always can work. And yeah, you can absolutely, if you have 6 Efreets, make 1 unit 6 spellcasters, for example, or 6 sword dancer, or 5 maybe, let's say, and put them with an air Raj, and that is just gonna be a good little flanking unit, and yeah, that's gonna work well. So I would highly recommend, if you like the faction, you love Conquest, and you want to go all in, having twice the starter is not a bad way at all. Another very good way to expand, it takes some extra steps because it is a 2-player starter set, the new one that has just been released. It includes, again, some Sorcerer Kings and some city-states. So when you consider the price, it's 190 euros, but you have two armies in there. You have half basically of the infantry that you get, because you have only 12 Rajakurs and 12 Ghols, but you, instead of Efreets, you get some Djinns that you can build as Steel Hearts or as Windborn Djinns. Steel Hearts are the ones that you see with a giant crazy axe. Windborns are the one with bows that can shoot. And instead of the Raj, you get a Sorcerer. The first 1,000 boxes will be with a limited edition Sorcerer, and then the next boxes that they will produce will be with a normal Sorcerer that you can buy anywhere. We talked, I think, already in the how to start with the city-states, the detail of how this half of the city-states is great to build your army. Hoplites are the base, Agemes are the infantry elite, and you have this Hipparchos character that will be able to be with the companion cavalry. It's a great pack for the city-states, so you should be able to sell it quite easily to the city-states player. And then you have this great expansion for the Sorcerer Kings. Be careful though, it combos well, as we've said, with the one player starter set, because you have more Rajakurs. You can make a pack of 9 if you want with this, more Ghols, great. But be careful, even though you have a Sorcerer, which is a great spell casting, less combat focused character, you have Djinns instead of Efreets. So if you buy both starters, the two player starters and the one player starter, you will have some creatures of the air, Djinns, and some creatures of fire, the Efreets. And while they absolutely can go in the same army without problem, you usually want, if you want to make tournaments and be competitive, focus on one or the other. So you can really combo your spells everywhere and just focus on one element. If you play for the beautiful army and with friends, or even you can be competitive but not aiming to win the world tournament, you can play both, and then both starters are great. If you really are 100% for the competition, consider maybe buying twice the fire starter, or maybe buying twice these two player starter sets to really focus on one element or the other. That would be my recommendation. Do note again, as well, if you consider the price 190 euros, it's less than 100 euros for this whole pack, great discount. And if you use Love 10, it's a better time than ever to use this code, because you will save almost 20 euros, like 19 to be precise. And that is going to be great, like you will save a lot, and it helps us even more. So if you do this, thank you in advance. Last way to expand, and absolutely not the least way to expand, I will try to move my face here. The Rakshasa. Those are monsters. They are already in pre-order, so you can get them. They are massive. Like, they don't look that big on the picture. They look like, I don't know, brute size. Don't worry, they are the size of the Spire Abomination or Dwagom Drake. Like, they're really massive. Like a normal infantry soldiers goes about just above their knees. So yeah, you can see the size of these guys. These guys are threats. We will deal with them in detail a little bit later, because I think they have been sent by Parabellum. So of course we'll make an unboxing of and Tactica of those guys in detail, looking at their stat lines and everything. But if I can just make you a little teaser on how they play, and so you know if you like the faction or not. The Bakasura, which is the one with the 4 swords, which has an insane style. Each of them have 3 alternative heads that you can put whether you like there is no consequence in terms of gameplay. So the Bakasura with the 4 swords is a character hunter, actually. You can just go around, charge characters, declare them duels, and obliterate them, because he's not a character, he's a monster, and he has an insane stat line. So he's one of the few things in the game that can threaten a Nord dedicated character in a duel. that is great. Yeah, I think it's the best duelist of the game. Well, duelist. It is quite a bit expensive, but it is insanely great. It also is amazing against infantry because he has tons of attack, great clash. Like if your opponent hides his characters, you can slaughter his medium to heavy infantry without any problem. And just the miniatures looks insane. Like I love it, and it's the one thing that almost made me start the Sorcerer Kings. But I didn't, and it's Yesan that you've seen on our channel a few times that is building now a Sorcerer Kings army, so expect them in battle reports very soon. Especially we're recording quite soon First Blood battle report with the Sorcerer King, so expect it. The alternative build that exists is the Rakshasa Ravanar, which is the one like the hunting tiger that you see here. You can change the head again. This guy is purpose made to hunt enemy monsters and behemoth and creatures and brutes. It has Fiend Hunter, so it's gonna have full reroll against these targets. He gains +3 to his charge when he's targeting these kind of monsters. So it means that he has, except if your opponent has crazy tricks such as Red Room having triple activation or this kind of thing. Apart from this, you almost always will have the first strike on your enemy's monster because he's quite fast, and with +3 to the charge, you have extremely high chance to fight first. And I don't know many monsters or brute regiments in the game that will survive a full attack from the Ravanar. Like, this guy hunts so hard. It is a bit fragile, so if your enemy charges first somehow or gets the flank attack with the cavalry or infantry and everything, it might die fast. So it is a glass cannon in this sense, but it's quite safe if you send him against your enemy's normal targets, which are monsters. Be careful though, there are some monsters, I'm thinking of the giant dinosaurs, especially the Diplodocus of the Woodrune, which the Tentor is the name, that probably will survive the attack and will maybe kill back the Rakshasa in the attack back. But that's a Tentor, like, it's just a beast, like there are no good ways to deal with the Tentor. Though the Rakshasa will almost kill the Tentor in one turn, in one activation, which is basically what you need, and then you can just finish him off with some shooting actions. Two very, very powerful monsters variations. You can buy the box twice and build each of them. Personally, I would recommend the Bakasura, which is just for the style, but if you want to be kind of competitive, I would maybe recommend the Ravanar, because you don't have that many tools to go monster hunting with the Sorcerer Kings, and it really fills that gap in your army list. So it's 130 euros, but it's really like a massive miniature, and it's with the code LOVE10 -10%, so it's gonna be 117 euros, which is much more reasonable, and thank you if you use the code. Alright, that is going to be it for this how to start with the Sorcerer Kings. I hope you enjoyed this video, the unboxing, the Tactica. If you did, remember to give us a thumbs up, it really helps, and to give us a comment. You can win an entire Dystopian Wars armada, if you, well, that's always a nice bonus, but of course, just let us know if you already played the Sorcerer Kings. If you have some tips for our newer players, feel free to share them in the comments. Do you agree with our Tactica, how to expand, etc.? If you are an existing Sorcerer King players, let us know. Let us know as well if you like the faction, if you plan on playing it in the future, etc. Thank you as always for having watched until the end, and until the next video, take care of yourself and remember to keep things fair in love and war games. Bye!